Hello, my friends, and welcome once again to the MonaLogues, and this is Life with Mona. This week, what we are talking about is depression. This is a topic that's been picking up speed in Kenya lately, and the good thing is people are beginning to talk about it, and people are beginning to realize that it's actually a reality. It is not just a drama queen thing that people do. This is a real thing that's happening to a lot of people in Kenya today. The few examples that I have, I think like 2 months ago, a friend of mine was so frustrated with everything that was happening in her life that at some point she just dropped everything and she walked away. She walked away from her family. She walked away from her children for a period of time. She just vanished. She walked away. Everybody was throwing in their judgments and their, thoughts and all these things. And I remember talking about it with some friends and my sister, and I was telling them, the thing is, weirdly enough, I kind of get it. I kind of understand where she was coming from. And very few people could understand it. And I said, for me, being an artist, being melancholic, being a solitary creature, I understand somebody getting to the point where there's so much that's going on around them and there's so much that's happening in their head that they just want out. Another example that seemed to shock everybody was Anthony Bourdain. So Anthony Bourdain is a celebrity chef in the States. And this is a guy who, he's not just been cooking. I mean, he's like the Gordon Ramsay, Jamie Oliver. He's not just somebody who cooks. He's somebody who inspires others. And his story was so inspirational because he came from being a chef in some little restaurant where he was so frustrated. And how he came to fame was he wrote an article about food, in the hotel industry and in the restaurant industry. And he was kind of like just taking pot shots at the industry, and it was a funny, lively piece about, don't, when you show up at the hotel, the first thing in the morning, don't order breakfast unless it's like fresh eggs because they're probably recycling food from the day before. And it was such a lively article that he actually got a book deal from that. And from that point on, this man rose and rose and rose and rose in status until he became a celebrity chef. So the thing that people didn't understand is how can somebody who is so successful and who has inspired so many people take his own life and the way he chose to do it. And I said as well, and we were still talking about this with my sisters, and I said, the weird thing is, I get it. I get why somebody would want to commit suicide. I have been in situations where I have thought, I'm done with this. Why am I here? What am I doing here? I have been in situations where I contemplated what would happen if today I just thought, I'm done. I have thought of ways, of course, this is part of my creativeness. I have thought of ways, how would I do it? Who would notice that I was missing? Who would be the first person to notice? How long would it take them to notice? I have thought about these things. Who would miss me? Who wouldn't miss me? Would my funeral have a lot of people? Would it not have a lot of people? And I was telling her the truth is, when somebody really means to kill themselves, chances of anybody knowing are slim to nil. Why? Because a person who is ready to go, like Anthony Bourdain, is not going to make noise about it. The people who are still talking, the people who are still, throwing hints are people who want help, and that's why they throw the hints. The ones who are done will just go. And I remember my sister being really shocked when I was telling her this. And I was like, I know, because it is something that I have thought about. I've not thought about it to the extent where I'm actually planning to do it, but I've thought about it. And when we talk about depression, I think depression has a lot to do with people walking away from their lives, with people choosing to end their lives. And I always say I have the disposition of the kind of person who would be susceptible to this. Why? Like I said in the beginning, I am a melancholic. I am artistic. I am creative. I am an introvert. People don't actually know this. A lot of people think I'm an extrovert. I'm not. I'm actually an introvert. The difference is I like people. I interact with people. It's part of my profession to interact with people. So because of that, people think I'm an extrovert. I'm not. And the things I think that have kept me sane in the moments of my life where I have thought I'm just done. And sometimes it's not even like, woe is me. It's just the thought of, I came here, I think I have experienced everything I want to experience. Let me just go. And I laugh because I think when I was signing my contract with God to come on earth and be a human being, I think we sat down and we put some fail-safes in place for me. And for me, the fail-safes were, number one, my family. So anytime I've thought of doing anything crazy, I think of my siblings coming to haunt me. If I died, they'd come into the afterlife and haunt me and bring me back and tell me stop being stupid. You know, because we have such a neat, a close-knit family. My siblings would never take anything like that from me. The second one, I think, is my mother, because I would never want to put her through something like that. She would never ever get it. She would never, I mean, it would be so difficult for her to recover from something like that. So that's my other fail-safe, my mother. The other one, I think, is my general like for people, which people think is me being an extrovert. And I think there's a little bit of a sanguine in me. And the sanguine part of me usually pulls me back, because my sanguine is like, so you've been stressed about this thing for how many days now? 2 days. Get over it. Let's go, let's go, let's go. What are we doing? Let's get over it. Get over yourself. And I come back. And the other fail-safe for me has been not finishing what I believe I came here to do. And sometimes I laugh with God and I say stuff like, you probably did not allow me to get successful at 30, because maybe by 33 I'd be like, okay, I'm done, let's go, and I'd have done something crazy. So there's always something for me to finish, something for me to finish, something for me to finish. And I know I'm saying this with a bit of a light touch, but I honestly believe that those fail-safes have kept me sane and have kept me from the brink of depression so many times. And one of my favorite scenes in a movie whose I don't even remember the title of the movie, but one of my favorite scenes, it's this father and his daughter, and they live like in the boondoos somewhere, but where it's like cold and there's a lot of snow. And one day the horse gets spooked. They're farmers, and the horse gets spooked and runs out of the stable. And it is like 4 p.m. and it's getting dark. So he tells his daughter he has to go after this horse, because without it, they don't have a livelihood. But a blizzard is coming in. So he tells her, around 6 o'clock, I should be making my way back. I won't be able to see if the blizzard is very heavy. So I need you to do something for me. I need you to stand at the door and hold up a lantern, so that despite the blizzard, I will be able to see the light and follow it home. So he goes after the horse, he finds it. But on the way back, the temperatures are so much worse. The blizzard is horrible. He can't even see the light. And when he's not home by like 6:30, the daughter realizes this man can't see. He's lost. So she rushes back into the kitchen and she gets this pot, a metallic pot, and she gets a spoon as well. And she comes back to the front of the door and she just starts banging, banging on the pot and banging on the pot and banging on the pot. And the guy out there, now her father, he hears the banging and he's like, that is probably my daughter banging, because she's realized I can't see the light. But even if it's not my daughter, that's a human being. And if I follow that sound, I'm going to make it home to safety, or I'll make it somewhere to safety. And he starts following the sound of the banging pot. And eventually he's close enough to see the light and he makes it home. And I like to use that as an example in life, or wherever it is that we find ourselves, when we are so lost, or when we feel there is really nothing else for us to live for, or when we have absolutely no idea of how to make it home. I always believe somewhere there is someone or something that is standing at the door and banging the pot and telling you this is the way home. And that comes also with one of my favorite Bible verses. I don't know which one. I don't know the actual verse. I just know the verse, what it says. And it says, whether you walk to the left or to the right, there will always be a voice saying, this is the way, walk in it. And those are the things that always keep me grounded. The fact that I do not believe you can get lost without a way, without a light, without something, someone, somewhere. So if you're watching this today and you feel lost, or you even feel like you're somewhere near the brinks of depression, or you know somebody who you think is lost or is on the brink of depression, one of the most encouraging things that I say, two things actually, you always have fail-safes. We're all made with fail-safes. You just have to recognize what they are and ignite them. Find a way to ignite them. And if you can't, I strongly believe there is someone or something ushering you home, banging a pot for you to find the way home. And today, I think we will have one of those people here with us. We are going to be speaking to Dr. Les Brickman, and he's going to be taking us through, first of all, just breaking down what exactly is depression. Are there different levels to it? Is there like depression that is not so bad? Is there depression that is, you need now medical help and you need therapy? What are the different levels of it? And most importantly, when you find yourself somewhere like that, how do you make it back home? How do you become okay again? Because there is always a way. Always, always, always. So this week on Life with Mona, join us as we have this conversation and as we find a light for all of us to get back home. These are the monologues, and this is Life with Mona.